cross Runeterra, and all will fall. We will consume you and become you. For every city that falls, we build 10. For each life we take, 1,000 void spawn. The void will drown you all.
Composed, calculated, and callous, she's already made her presence and intentions known. There's no need for any further introductions. Welcome to the Bel'Veth Champion Spotlight. Bel'Veth's passive is Death in Lavender, which has two components. First, when Bel'Veth takes down champions or large monsters, she gains stacks of Lavender, which grant her permanent attack speed. There is no cap to the amount of attack speed she can gain, so the more Bel'Veth consumes, the quicker her victory will come.
I will pick this world clean.
Second, after using an ability, Death in Lavender grants Bel'Veth bonus attack speed for her next 2 basic attacks. She can hold up to 6 stacks at a time. Bel'Veth's Q is Void Surge, which allows Bel'Veth to dash and deal damage to all enemies she passes through, applying unhit effects to the first target hit. Void Surge allows Bel'Veth to dash in 4 different directions, with each direction having its own unique cooldown. Cooldown for Void Surge scales on attack speed, so make sure to take advantage of Death in Lavender to speed up the inevitable doom of all of your enemies.
My world awaits.
You cannot dash through walls with Void Surge while on an empty stomach, but more on that later. With her W, above and below, Bel'Veth slams her tail to the ground, damaging, knocking up, and slowing her enemies. If a champion is hit, above and below will refresh Void Surge in the direction of that champion, giving Bel'Veth an avenue to gap close and finish her prey.
Begone!
Bel'Veth's E, Royal Maelstrom, roots her in place while she channels a storm of slashes around her that targets the lowest health enemy, minions and monsters included. But be advised that Bel'Veth would never make herself a sitting duck. Royal Maelstrom also gives her damage reduction and lifesteal while doing increased damage based on the target's missing health. Much like Void Surge's cooldown, the number of slashes scales with her attack speed as well. Bel'Veth is not all monstrous. She has a regal side to her and carries herself as any empress would. Who knows, maybe she'll even invite us all for a nice feast or something. What is that? I'm in danger. Guess we'll just finish this champion spotlight out before we all meet our dooms. Bel'Veth's ultimate is Endless Banquet. Its passive allows Bel'Veth to deal true damage on every other basic attack on the same target, regardless of what form she's in. This passive stacks infinitely, rewarding players who keep their eyes on the prize and take down enemies one at a time. Shifting targets will break your stacks, so make sure to choose your meals wisely. As you've already seen, takedowns on champions, as well as epic monsters, leave Void Coral that Bel'Veth can consume to take on her ultimate form.
I will use you well.
Once consumed, the coral will explode and damage nearby enemies, as well as grant Bel'Veth a stack of Lavender. While in her ultimate form, Bel'Veth gains an increase in her max health, attack range, total attack speed, and out-of-combat movement speed. As we hinted at before, once Bel'Veth has filled her stomach and assumed her true form, her Q, Void Surge, will gain the ability to pass through walls.
Nowhere to run.
Now you may be asking, are other Void beings safe from Bel'Veth? Nope. If Bel'Veth takes down a Void epic monster and consumes its remaining coral, she receives an empowered ultimate that allows her to stay in her true form for a longer duration. Void Coral from a Void epic monster also allows Bel'Veth to repurpose minions that die around her and have them reborn as Void Remora, ready to march down the lane and devour. Eating multiple coral will refresh Endless Banquet's duration.
Consume, grow, and renew.
Of course, if Bel'Veth's ultimate were to time out, she'd lose all her bonuses and empowered Void Surge. When playing Bel'Veth, make sure you're as calculated as she is. While she has the knowledge of millions of years of history within her, her physical body is still new to this world. Bel'Veth is rather weak in the early game, but will grow in strength and power as she consumes more and more.
I will remember this.
When jungling, make sure to eat as many large monsters as you can to maximize your stacks from Death in Lavender. Bel'Veth's ultimate form gives her a powerful boost in presence and sustain. She's stronger in it than not. And don't hesitate to farm it out until you hit level 6. There's a certain mastery behind it.
Let me taste your pain.
In the mid-game, look to prioritize killing Rift Herald or maybe even Baron, as they'll make Bel'Veth uniquely stronger with a longer ultimate duration, as well as grant her Void Remora that amplify her pushing power.
Every morsel of this world will fuel our metamorphosis.
Bel'Veth's here for her sole mission, to devour the world, so it's not surprising that she isn't the best in team fights, especially when she's not in Endless Banquet. Try to look for opportunities to split push or take on 1v1 skirmishes where your enemies, are alone. If your enemies can't handle the Empress, continue to chase with Void Surge and stop them in their tracks with Above and Below, gaining a refresh on Void Surge should you need to close the gap again. Continue the onslaught with attacks to make the most of Endless Banquet's passive, and once your target is low, execute with Royal Maelstrom to finish the meal. Then move on to your next. When in doubt, not that Bel'Veth would ever have any doubt, consume.
Such bravery will live on in me.
Bel'Veth is the summation of everything the Void has devoured. Her existence marks the beginning of the end, and her victory is certain. Are you ready to drown in the Lavender Sea? Your Empress awaits. Discover more about Bel'Veth in the links below.
The Void demands that I exist, and so I do.